Hello again, Coffee Chat friend. First thing I'd like to say is, if you're wondering why there's a whistling noise outside once in a while, it's because there's a fairly significant snowstorm going on. I just pulled over to the side of the road here to say a few words that I wanted to say today before it gets too dark. It's going to get dark pretty soon. I wanted to talk about a term that's going around quite a bit lately, which is the red pill versus the blue pill. This is in reference to, as you would be well aware, I'm sure, of this movie The Matrix, which came out more than 10 years ago probably, of which I have yet to watch, so therefore why am I talking about it? Well, though I do plan to watch it because I think it'd be a very intriguing movie, just the concept of the blue pill versus the red pill is really interesting. The concept is basically to do with how we live our lives. My understanding is the red pill is about embracing the painful truth of reality. In other words, it's realizing that life is life. There's challenges and so on. Whereas the blue pill is to do with living life as an abstraction, if you will, and the blissful ignorance, you might say, of an illusion. The Garden of Eden, if you will, where there isn't as much consequences and we live under this benevolent dictatorship of our creation. Now, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that in terms of old stories and the references that we find in our lives of blue versus red, and how we can remember that sometimes life is not about the easiest way. It's about the more noble way, if you will, or the more, to use an old terminology, the righteous way, the more beneficial way. And as a result, we get to look ourselves in the mirror and be satisfied that we did our best. And therefore it's like a quality, like a satisfaction of life comes out, even though it might be the harder way to do it, to go about things. Now, if we go back to the old story of the Garden of Eden, there's the eating the apple, the forbidden apple, from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, that's kind of a red pill in a way, right? It's the red apple. It's the redness of life. And when we chew down on it, it's a harder life. Definitely it's a harder life. But we get to be able to decide for ourselves, from what we've been given, from our faculties, from our sense of reason and evidence and whatnot, what is right and what is wrong for us. And we get to live according to that. So it's harder, yes. We don't have to be told what's right and wrong anymore. We can make that decision. But it's more fulfilling in a way because we've truly lived. So I'm going down the red pill side first of all. The idea of red is usually in reference to a higher authority, right? We often, at times, when we were in school, the teacher would use a red pen, and we weren't allowed to use a red pen. We had to use several shades lower, which was a pencil. Maybe not even a blue pen. But even a blue pen, remember reference to the blue pill, the red pill, it's considered to be a lesser signature than the red one. The red one overrides the blue because it's more like truthful. And perhaps it's because it's synonymous with blood. Blood it was considered like this life liquid within us. And in the old days, the old seal, the signed, sealed, and delivered, the sealed part was perhaps with blood. When it was a seal of blood, it was something directly from our truth. It was not fabricated. We don't fabricate our blood. Our blood is inherent for us, in us. And that is more of a truthful. And it hurts. Blood hurts, right? To cut and to give blood is kind of like the hardship of life, is having to witness blood in a way. And we see red state is often used in terms of right versus left or right versus wrong in a way. It represents a greater degree, although I'm not going to go there with politics, but it represents generally those who would want greater levels of freedom. Yes, being accepting of the hardships that actually entails, but nevertheless, accepting responsibility and the hardships that come with that. Now, on the blue pill side, we see things like concepts of, okay, coming back to the definition of the blue side of the pill, is the blissful ignorance of illusion, that Garden of Eden, if you will. And that gets translated into something called social insurance. We don't have to be responsible for ourselves. We can just sign up for a social insurance number, and somebody, this great God called the public, will take care of us. It's like living in an illusion. It's not being real with ourselves, not taking full responsibility, or as much responsibility of ourselves as we can to sign up for this. We see the concept of the blue collar. The blue collar, I don't know what the red collar equivalent would be, but the blue collar is typically not seen as the higher authority. Often that's the white collar. So it's not in contrast to the red in this case, but it's just an example of this to help us see that. Once again, the blue ink. The blue ink doesn't have the same authority as the red ink. The blue lodge in the Freemasons is the lower lodge. The higher lodge is more authoritative, more mysterious to us from the Blue Lodge perspective. Blue Lodge is the base lodge. It is what some people call the lodge of the ignorant fools. And maybe that's related to that as well. The blue, especially in contrast to blue state versus red state, is freedom versus slavery. Slavery, of course, is a state in a way of ignorant bliss. I mean, we can subject ourselves to authority that will make decisions for us, whether that be gods or God's representatives called nobles and politicians and all these sorts of people. Nevertheless, they are all representatives of God in a way, because we've constructed those as higher than us, and therefore we abdicate our responsibilities and put our faith in this blue illusion. And finally, we get to feel blue at times. Yes, it is the ignorance of bliss and the illusion. What comes with this, I believe, though, is a genuine, like at times a depressed or blue state, a feeling of blueness, because there doesn't seem to be any purpose. There doesn't seem to be, everything seems to be confusing. Even if we have our gods, our God is confusing. However, in a red pill state, it's the admission that we don't know everything. But we're going to take responsibility for what we know that we can take responsibility for, which is our decisions in how we're going to go one way or the other. And we're going to be able to confront those consequences of our decisions with responsibility for having taken them. So I would say that biting the red pill, this metaphorical red pill, is a good idea. It's a good idea because we get to live more from what we really are, rather than from the abstractions and these illusions that we create, which, yes, give a sense of temporary bliss, but it is a sense of temporary bliss because of the ignorance of not wanting to take responsibility, of wanting to sign up for the religious, whatever we want to call it, social insurance of this abstraction, this created caretaker that we want to enroll to take responsibility for our lives. Biting the red pill, then, if I've got that correct, maybe I'm reversed, but if I got that correct, is the metaphor, if you will, for taking responsibility for our lives. Yes, it's harder, though anything worth living is worth the challenge, and the resulting side effect of that is genuine, deep down increases in our quality of life experience. Biting the blue pill, though there is the superficial assurance of being taken care of. Deep down, because we have not taken our responsibilities, we can be swept under the bus as soon as the religious gods, the constructs that we have created, no longer need us. When we abdicate our responsibility for our lives, we become slaves to the extent that we do that. When we take responsibilities, we take freedoms. We gain our freedoms, rather, even though we may be objectively slaves in a way. Inside, we become free. So, will you bite the red pill or will you bite the blue pill? I'll leave that answer up to you, and hopefully you've got some comments that you can leave down below somewhere. Now, I've never said this before, but if you see this on YouTube, please, if you can, if you've enjoyed any of it, become a subscriber down below. This apparently helps more people get views. If you care about a message like this and you want it to be put forward in a way, whether it be you putting it forward or you putting it forward vicariously through me, apparently the subscriptions do help in terms of YouTube, in terms of searches actually working for these sorts of things. So if you did enjoy any of it, subscribe down below, and I hope to be able to talk to you again soon. My name is Steve, signing off on this very wintry, not so cold, wintry day, but nevertheless blustery and heavy snowfall. I'll talk to you again soon. It's been a joy talking to you again. Bye-bye for now.